thank the gentleman for yielding. And in relation to the No Ban Act, and I understand there was a disagreement over whether or not you supported the president's ability to restrict travel from certain countries based on not whether they were a Muslim country, but based on whether or not they were a country that was not in compliance with our Department of Homeland Security requirements and criteria to ensure that they're properly vetting people that come to our country for national security purposes, and specifically to ensure that people that are known terrorists, people that have other known criminal backgrounds are not able to come into our country. And most countries around the world, including a number of Muslim countries, are in compliance and in fact have a very good cooperative travel agreement between the United States and those countries. But there were a limited number of countries back in 2017 that the president ultimately determined, working through the Department of Homeland Security, were not in compliance. And he listed those countries. He added a few more later. I know a number of people on your side were in disagreement with that. Some took that to court. It ultimately went all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. The Supreme Court upheld this travel ban. But I would want to point out to the gentleman that the Department of Homeland Security has been very clear to these countries that if they comply with the basic reporting requirements, again, that every other country in the world that has that same travel agreement with the United States has, if they were to come into compliance, then they would be removed from the list. And in fact, Chad is one of the countries that was originally listed. Chad worked with us, as every country should, and said, you know what, we're going to comply. We want to make sure that we're properly sharing information so that if people are coming to the United States from Chad, now they are properly vetted for terrorism and other criminal activities, and they got removed from the list. Any other country, by the way, has been invited to do that. They've chosen not to. Why they've chosen not to is a good question they should be asked, but to criticize the president for using his executive authority to keep this country safe, to keep terrorists from coming into this country, and ensuring that those nations that send people to the United States, as we send them to their countries, are in compliance with the requirements of the Department of Homeland Security. So why would a bill like that be brought up, especially this time, when now with this coronavirus, there are a number of countries that we've seen, starting with China, that have a serious outbreak that we're trying to prevent from coming into our country. And under this bill that would be coming forward, not only does it limit the president's ability to protect us from having countries be able to send terrorists into our nation, now it would limit the president's ability to respond to a health crisis like the coronavirus, where there are some countries that are listed, like China and Iran, that have to be screened or can't send people from those countries if they've been in those countries in the last 14 days. It would tie the president's hand from even responding to that crisis. And we've seen, look, just today, the governor of California, probably not somebody that's philosophically aligned with the president too often, just sent a cruise ship back into the Pacific Ocean and said the cruise ship can't come into San Francisco. And that's the governor's power and authority to provide for the health and safety of his state. Why would we want to tie the hands of the President of the United States to ensure the health and safety of the people of this country? And I would yield to the gentleman.